Hello and welcome. We're just getting started here, so we're going to give everyone about 30-45 seconds to log in. If you're just getting on the line now, you'll see you've arrived at the Smart Manufacturing Intro webinar, moving from static to dynamic manufacturing operations. And if you'd like, while we wait to get started, if you'd like to just say hello in the chat, we'd love to hear from you today. Let us know where you're dialing in from. Hello, good morning. We have Minneapolis here with us. Looks like we have Unilever, Indiana, Cambridge, San Francisco, California, Canada. Welcome. We have about 24 participants on the line. We'll give it another 15 seconds or so before we get started today. If you'd like to say hello in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. We have India on the line, Mexico, Camelli from Unilever, Indiana, Wisconsin. Quite a few from North America, I'm noticing. Hello, Paul, welcome from Toronto. Hello from Italy. So we're just a couple of minutes past the hour here, so we'll go ahead and get started. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be posted in the course platform for those of you who would like to review the material after today's webinar session. So within 24 hours, you'll see it posted. Now you'll notice here, we just have a message from our program support team in the chat box letting us know about the Q&A option. So you'll notice there's a toolbar, and there's two options in your toolbar. There's a chat option. Many of you have used that to say hello. That's a really casual and informal way of communicating with us during live sessions such as this one. However, if you have a question that you would like for us to answer in today's live session, whether it be about the course content or some logistical components of the course, please do use the Q&A box. So it's to the center on the left of that toolbar. It's a square with the letter Q in the middle of it. That Q&A box is being moderated by our program support team, our academic delivery team, and by our learning facilitators. We're all monitoring that box, and we're here with you for the rest of the hour to help answer any questions that you have. So please do, from here moving forward, use that Q&A box if you have any questions you'd like to see answered live today. Without further ado, my name is Marie Mize. As I mentioned in the chat, I'm coming in from Cambridge, Massachusetts, which was just near MIT. And I'm joined by Jonathan Miller. We'll hear from him in a minute. He's one of our learning facilitators. We also have Sergia Bukiewicz on the line, and he's one of our learning facilitators as well. So here shortly, you guys will hear from both of them. But before we hand it over, I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what you can expect on today's webinar. We'll talk a little bit about MIT professional education. I'll introduce your learning facilitators and the faculty for the course. We'll talk a little bit about the course schedule and some of the logistics that are going to affect your learning throughout the course. We'll talk about assignments and where you can go for support. And one of the key features also is a Canvas demonstration. We've sort of saved the best for last. This is a chance for you to get an insider's look into how you can best use the LMS, the learning management system that we have designed for you for this course. We'll show you some tips and tricks on how to navigate the Canvas learning management system so that you're as prepared as possible to succeed in the course. So MIT Professional Education was founded in 1949. It's part of the School of Engineering. It's faculty taught, faculty led, and it's really a gateway to non-degree programs for professionals. They have hosted 1,500 short programs each year since 1949. There's advanced study programs, custom programs, international programs, and now, of course, we have the online programs. You'll see here on this slide the MIT Professional Education mission is to really provide that gateway to renowned research, knowledge, and expertise from MIT for anyone who's engaged in science and technology worldwide. And they do this through running advanced educational programs that are really meant for working professionals. So for those of you who are interested in learning the content and learning the information, but perhaps cannot step away for 3 or 4 years to attend an entire on in-person program. You'll see here is the link to the professional MIT EDU if you'd like to learn more about the programs that are offered both on campus and digitally. So introductions, without further ado, we have Brian Anthony. He is our stellar faculty member who has filmed all of the video content for this course. He's a principal research scientist at MIT in mechanical engineering and the director of the Master of Engineering program in manufacturing at MIT. He himself is an entrepreneur. He has 20 patents and he's published widely in peer-reviewed journals. He has an Emmy Award, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Innovations in Sports Broadcasting. So this is someone who has deep and broad expertise in the area of manufacturing, who has designed the course content and filmed the information for you. So we want to welcome you. This is a chance for us to finally say, welcome to the course, welcome to Smart Manufacturing. We're so glad that you're with us. We look forward to having you in the course and supporting your learning journey over the next several weeks. Professor Brian Anthony is supported by a team of experienced learning facilitators. We've got 2 of those with us here today. These guys are experienced in engineering and manufacturing pedagogy. They are going to be with you every step of the way in this course. They moderate discussion boards, they're grading assignments, they host office hours and other live opportunities for you to get your questions answered. They respond to emails and student queries, and we'll show you during the Canvas walkthrough how you can reach out to your learning facilitators when you need support. And again, those office hours, so there are 3 sessions per week. I will let Jonathan and Sergio let you know all about those office hours and what you can expect, but we cannot emphasize enough how critical it is for you to make every effort possible to attend those office hours. That is really where some of the deep learning happens in this course. And so we try and make those available for you several times a week to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to attend. So again, we have 2 learning facilitators. I'm going to ask them to turn on their cameras and say hello. So first of all, Sergio Butkovic, if you could say hello to the group and let us know your background a little bit and what brings you to the course.
Certainly. Thank you very much for the introductions. Greetings to all of the participants from many places. It's a distinct pleasure for me to join this new journey of this course online. I was trained as a PhD in mechanical engineering and have had many positions in the industry, leading applications and R&D of machine intelligence, machine learning, and smart manufacturing. As an alumnus of this course, I can speak very highly of Professor Anthony's and his team, as well as the Emeritus team. Rest reassured that all the time and energy that you are going to spend here is dedicated to cover topics that really matter as we see them in the industry and businesses in general. Regarding the office hours for Section A, they will be held at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is 1:30 p.m. GMT every Monday. There is an outline for the content of those sections, but what I really much look forward to is to hear your input and participation such that we can adapt them along the way, such that they can in real time suit your needs as best as possible. Anything else that I should cover?
That's great, thank you. So just as a reminder to those on the line for students, Sergio, Jonathan, and a few others are in the background over the next several minutes. If you have any additional questions about their background, just put it right in the Q&A and we'll be taking a look at that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand the mic now over to Jonathan Miller so he can introduce himself as well. Let us know a little bit about your background, Jonathan, and what brings you to the course today.
Hi, everyone. I am Jonathan. My background was I started out doing applied research and development for the U.S. Army and Navy, focusing on robotics and telehealth, and then went down the path of venture creation, creating technical companies. And that was where I really gained a tremendous amount of engineering, design, and product development experience building both digital products and physical products. And so I was a grad student at MIT, earning a Master's of Science in Engineering and Management, and now have a research affiliation that I maintain with the university for focusing on creating of technical ventures that serve both the private sector and government services. We're really excited to be able to over the next several weeks start to get to know you really well, because through Sergio and I, we host the office hours each week. It's a great time to be able to build more of that personal connection and to really be able to shift the content into certain areas that are most of interest to you, or in each of your unique backgrounds and experiences that you bring to the table. So we are, we have our office hour starting next week. We're really excited to be able to start to work more closely with each of you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. You already have a fan in the chat. Ramel, U.S. Army, 2 thumbs up in the chat. Myself, I come from an Army background as well. So it's very nice that we're already starting to get to know each other as a cohort here. And I'll just echo what Jonathan said. We really do customize and tailor this learning experience around the people who are in the course. And in order to do that, coming to those office hours and learning more about each other is going to be a really critical component of learning as we move along. So Jonathan will come back on later on in today's webinar. He'll let us know a little bit more about the course content. But before we do that, we want to let you know about you. So we want to tell you who's in the course. You know, part of, as we're mentioning again and again, part of the advantages of coming into an online space such as this one is you're not constrained by space and time in the same way that you are in a traditional classroom context. And with that, you have a global group of peers. And so we want to let you know a little bit about your peer group in this course. So your cohort, you have plant managers who are working in manufacturing, design and manufacturing engineers who are looking to learn more about data and modeling in a manufacturing environment. There are data scientists among you and consultants among you, and also functional and cross-functional, those of you who are leading functional and cross-functional teams. And to get a little bit more insight here, we've created a few interesting charts for you to show you what type of geographic areas and industry areas you represent. So you'll see here, these are the industry areas with 12% of you in media. You have telecommunications, electronics, energy, education, healthcare, consulting, IT products and services, banking and financial services. So really across different industry areas, you have a peer group who you can network with and understand more about how they're applying these tools and frameworks to their industry and to their roles. Next up here, we've got a graph that shows your work experience in your group. So the vast majority of you here are sort of in that 20-year age, or that 20-year years of experience. Next to that, you have 10 to 14, and then 15 to 19. So most of you have somewhere around 10 or more, and the other 50% of you are below 10 years of work experience. So again, you're networking not only across different industries, but you're also networking across different industry years of experience, which is really important. You can get fresh eyes on problems that you've been working on for a long time, and then vice versa to that, you can get insights from people who are veterans in this industry, or in the world of manufacturing. So a really great opportunity to network with multiple different folks in your peer group. Our countries also represent, you know, a vast diversity from Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Colombia, Canada, India, Australia, UK, Brazil. The majority of you are from the US. If you were here with us at the beginning of the webinar, you saw all different regions of the US, all different regions of the world are represented in the course and are part of your peer group that you get to network and interact with as you learn in this course. So I'm going to hand the mic over now to Jonathan. He's going to give us a course overview, let us know a little bit about what you can expect here. Jonathan, are you there? You go. So I'm going to just hand it over to you and let you take the wheel from here. Thank you very much, and I'll be back on here shortly.
Thank you, Marie. So participants, this is a 10-week long course, and we've got quite a bit of information that organized by week. You can see that on the schedule to the right side of the screen. Quite a lot of content to cover. We do have, because of some of the winter holidays, we have a break week, sort of late December to early January. But we have new modules that release every Monday. We have multiple faculty webinars, and that's when Professor Brian Anthony will come on in sort of live, and he'll give us a live lecture, and there's opportunities to communicate directly with him, asking him questions on many different types of topics. We also will have a webinar led by one of our learning facilitators, and then we have the aforementioned office hours. We'll have 1 hour each of those per week. So in terms of the course content, we have, in terms of the high level view, we are looking at smart manufacturing processes. And what is smart manufacturing? It means, it can mean several things to several people. It may be known as Industry 4.0. It may be as sort of like IoT or industrial IoT. For us, these are all kind of various aspects of smart manufacturing. What we're going to cover is so going through sensors and how to acquire data. There's a lot of focus on how do we just get the initial data, and then starting to build in the manufacturing process control and feedback, ways of thinking about, even once we have the data, how do we make sense of that? How do we start to then make improvements to our machine so that our manufacturing process gets smoother, more reliable? That gives us a great opportunity to then talk about machine vision and some of the great and recent developments in that field. And then finally, we round out the course focusing on statistical process control with more advanced data analysis opportunities. The focus of our course is through FRED. FRED is an acronym that stands for Fiber Extrusion Device. This is a real machine. You see a CAD drawing on the screen there. And it simulates a common fiber manufacturing setting. There are four primary components to that: the extruder, the laser micrometer, the cooling system, and the spooling system. And we will be working with FRED and the data that's generated by FRED throughout the duration of the course. So you will get very familiar with the inner workings of this machine. So there are 4 key aspects to keep in mind for the course. And the first 2 have to do with application. So first, the application of FRED with respect to FRED is how to iterate, or how to continually improve this machine. And so we'll be focusing on the basic tenets of smart manufacturing that Brian Anthony will be speaking to us about. And then his team of researchers and within the lab who designed, built, and are tuning FRED will be learning about the software and hardware components that go into that. Then in terms of extending the application beyond FRED are looking at often at industry examples. And so we're looking at how is smart manufacturing applied into a variety of different fields, from sports to medicine and to other areas. Brian Anthony brings specific information or specific domain knowledge on like sports and medicine, and then the learning facilitators, we can bring our own different domain knowledge that to help support that which you participants are also bringing into our conversations. So our third key aspect is guided learning, and with this is that we're exploring with the learning facilitators, yours truly and Sergio, and we're looking at how these concepts can be applied to your organization. And so throughout the discussions, throughout the assignments that we'll be talking about momentarily, and through other opportunities for discussion, we can learn more about the challenges and opportunities that are faced by you, and then we can help sort of steer information your way, give you some input on how to improve your organization. The final key aspect is the peer learning, and this is really special, and I'm such a fan of peer learning. This is a great way for you to share, great opportunity for you to share resources, to engage in the online discussions, to take that extra step to look at what your peers are contributing to discussion, and then responding thoughtfully to them and adding even more meaning to those discussions. It's a great way to bond, because it's not just about participants listening to instructors. It's not like a one-way street like that. It's all of us learning from each other, and that's what's special about the way this course is constructed. So drilling a little bit deeper in terms of the course overview. So for across the 10 modules, this is the first half of them, modules 1 through 5. And what we're looking at are an introduction to the smart manufacturing and the concept of Fred and the machine itself, looking at global trends, and then the prototype of Fred. Then we'll move into visualization of data. How do we analyze data? How do we make it visual? This involves a convergence of manufacturing, so production line content, with data science. To do that, we'll be looking at time series analyses to understand a certain component of Fred. As we then move beyond understanding how to visualize data, then we start to get working with some of the more complexities of that data, modeling it to make sense of it. It's non-trivial, and so we'll be building models to help us improve Fred, and then exploring the effects of, say, an extended production run. What happens when environmental temperature changes, or the machine temperature itself starts to fluctuate? What do we do about that? How do we account for that? That then leads us into a discussion on sensors, and so reviewing the key role that sensors has within smart manufacturing, how the sensorification, if you will, of production lines has really making it such a great opportunity, yet a problem of generating so much data. We got to figure out what to do with it. So we'll be evaluating sensors. We'll be assessing the different flavors of data that these types of sensors produce. Finally, in this, to round out the first half of the course, we then get into that control manufacturing process, looking at the different dynamics around process control, feedback systems, monitoring, to make sure everything's staying within the bounds that we want for our manufacturing process. The next half of the course is bring another 5 sets of content. I see there was a question in the chat, comment about other topics on machine learning. And yes, there are, and we touch on that, and especially within this machine vision component of the course. Machine vision is influenced by advancements in machine learning and vice versa. With machine vision, we'll be looking at how do we take measurements using a camera, and then some of the exercises will involve thinking about how the machines can use cameras and images to help us and to inform us of decisions that we need to make regarding the production line. We also have a second component, a second module on this, the applications of machine vision, where we go through different types of industry, different application settings. Model fitting and sensitivity analysis is another key component of this course. And this is about how to take the knowledge we had from the prior modules on machine vision and then bringing that in with statistical process control. That statistical process control is something that you may have some familiarity with from say older, more traditional forms of manufacturing, like whether it's like sampling rates, et cetera. And we help crank that up a couple of notches to account for the new types of data that we're generating. And that leads us and then into the final aspect of the course, which is the module on advanced data analysis, where we're working with data sets that are really very rich and border on having so much data that we have to really be careful how we use it and how we properly sample. There's a lot to cover, and so we're really excited to work with you going through these 10 modules. Now, we are here to help you, and we've mentioned office hours before. We're going to mention it probably a couple more times, that we have, Sergio and I will be hosting these office hours each week. The office hours, note, they are optional, an optional component of the course. However, they do exist so that you have access to us live to help answer your questions and to learn different aspects of the content that Sergio and I will spotlight as key areas or gotchas or ways to think about things a little bit differently. There are also going to be, or there will be, a Q&A discussion board that's on Canvas, and we have those for each module, and then you can post questions in there. We keep an eye on that, and we also expect that your fellow participants will be also contributing to answering questions in the Q&A discussion area. That's a great way to sort of build their relationships peer to peer. So in terms of the office hour specifics, right now on Mondays, Sergio will be hosting 1:30 p.m. UTC, and I'll be hosting on Wednesday 4 p.m. UTC. And we'll let you know if there's any adjustments based on our travel schedules and things, and we're excited to be able to work with you during these office hours. We do also have the faculty webinar, multiple faculty webinars. So Professor Anthony will be conducting 3 live webinars throughout the course. And those 3 webinar times and topics are listed on the screen there. He'll be talking about analyzing data, model fitting, and advanced data analysis in November and twice in January. So let's look at how, since this is a course, and so there is a grading component to that. The assessment is handled, your expectations rather are that there are going to be weekly videos to consume, there are knowledge checks, and there are assignments. And so let's delineate those a little bit. The videos include Dr. Anthony's insights, and so we have those complete with visuals, various types of illustrations showing the physical, mechanical, and mathematical elements of manufacturing. Then each sort of body of video content for the module is followed by the weekly knowledge check. And that the knowledge checks are optional. They're there for you to, like finger exercises, to test your knowledge and find any areas that you're weak on you can review. You'll be creating your own visualizations. We have you doing that early on in the course so that you keep doing it and building on that knowledge module after module. You'll be analyzing your like real production data that we're providing, and then be making decisions around these kinds of manufacturing processes. So in terms of the assessments, the way that this looks and how many of each there are, looking across knowledge checks, discussions, and assignments. For the knowledge checks, there are 14 of these, and they're there just to help you understand the content. They are not required. They are graded, so that, but it's like auto graded, and you can have an unlimited number of attempts. Okay, so then there are the discussions. There are a lot of discussions in this course, 19 of them specifically, and they come as weekly. Some of these are weekly assignments that are evaluated. Others are ungraded, and these help you just to explore, ask questions about specific videos or specific weekly content. And then finally, there are the assignments themselves. These help you to drive home the learning and really put you in the pilot seat and to figure out what to do when you're faced with, say, a CSV table full of data. And then it's like, okay, now what? We have 10 of these assignments. They are required. They are graded. And so this is some of the key ways to assess your learning. At the end of the course, and something that we're excited to offer is this MIT Certificate of Completion, and quite an honor to be able to have this. This is something that you can earn and show on LinkedIn, on your wall, on your refrigerator, wherever you would choose to show it. We're happy if you show your professional networks the achievement that you have from MIT Professional Education and Smart Manufacturing. And so this is there for you to earn, by completing those assignments and being active in our virtual classroom. What we have as a special offering of sorts is the MIT Professional Education Fire Hydrant Award. And so the name may be a little odd sounding to you, a fire hydrant award. This harkens back to some years ago. It's been said that studying at MIT is like drinking from a fire hose. And so in homage to that, we have this fire hydrant award. This is for the participant that has demonstrated exemplary performance. And this is given out to the learners that they've completed their assignments. They're doing like just such an awesome job with their assignments. And not only that, we're seeing them contributing to the office hours. They're helping each peers in the discussion areas. We're looking for that passion, that sort of fire in the belly and thirst for knowledge that is such a special part of the MIT community. So that's what the Fire Hydrant Award is, where details are sparse on how one earns that, but I gave some hints. So for course completion, it's only the assignments that count toward the overall evaluation and the passing criteria with respect to the certificate of completion. Assignments are released each week on Mondays, and you can request assignment extensions kind of like on a case-by-case basis on using the support tab in Canvas if for some reason you can't meet the deadline. We understand and respect that everyone here is inherently a professional, and so sometimes things come up, and so we'll be as reasonable as possible regarding that. The passing criteria is earning at least sort of an 8 out of 10 of these required assignments. And those who do complete that course, they will earn not only the digital certificate, but also 6 continuing education units if those are important for you in your professional life. So with respect to the support, we have an awesome support team that helps us with take that.
Yeah, I came back, I just turned my camera back on. Jonathan, thank you so much for outlining, what students can expect. And this was a very high level overview of what's coming in the course. I noticed there was a few questions in the chat. And one of those I'd like to respond to here at this point in the webinar. You asked a very good question, Peter. How can we ask questions about the first assignment? It's due before office hours start. So I'm going to show you how you can reach out for support beginning today. So you do not have to wait until the office hours to get your questions answered. We have a mechanism of support for you, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what that looks like. We also have a question from Victor about, Jonathan, if I can just ask you this, if you want to come back live with us here for a moment. Victor asked us about if there's any topics on machine learning. I wonder if you can speak to that quickly.
Yes, yeah, they're especially during the machine vision 2 sections, 2 modules. I think there's modules 6 and 7. We will be definitely in consideration of machine learning. There are separate MIT courses, of course, that are deep into machine learning. I personally will be integrating some aspects of machine learning throughout because it's definitely an area of interest of mine, and it's totally relevant for the machine vision modules 6 and 7.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. So yeah, you'll see here on my screen, I've just shared the course platform. So we're going to walk through how to get support, and I'm going to show you some tricks of the trade for what you can do in order to get the most out of your course here during your time here. We also want to reserve some time at the end to answer your questions. So I'm going to walk you through the Canvas demonstration that'll take about 7 minutes or so, and then we're going to reserve the last 20 minutes if we can to speaking with you live and getting your questions answered. And of course we have Sergio and Jonathan here to do that. But before we get those questions answered, I want to show you a little bit about what you can expect with the LMS that we use here. It's called Canvas, and what we'll do is we'll walk through the platform from the right to the left. So you'll notice here on the right there's a couple of features here. The first is there's two buttons. One is View Course Stream and the other is View Course Calendar. Now, what these two buttons do is they show you everything that's happening in the course at any given time, either in a list view, the first one here, or in a calendar view. So let's look at this together. If you view Course Stream, what you'll find here is all of the things that have taken place to date in the course. And these are listed in chronological order for you. So you'll see the two most recent announcements are always posted at the top. And of course, they're both about today's webinar. We wanted to make sure as many of you as possible could join us. If you want to see those announcements in more detail, you can click the drop-down menu here, and there's a link that'll get you right to those announcements. You'll also see that there have been several assignment notifications. And you can go right into those assignments by clicking that drop down and seeing exactly what those assignments are. Now you'll see here there's a discussion board for section B, and there's also a discussion board for section A. And so if you're wondering what section you've been assigned to or how you know which one of these are relevant to you, I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But when you click on that assignment notifications drop down, you'll see all of the assignment notifications that we've sent to you. And finally, these are our discussion boards. So in a nice succinct list view, you'll have all of the discussion boards that we've sent so far. You'll see there's an introduce yourself, there's trends in smart manufacturing, and there's smart production of taffy. So right now we have 3 different discussion threads. Now the reason you see 6 of them here is because there's one for each section. And so when you go to your list, you'll just see the ones for your section. So that's the list view here. Now, the next way that you can see all of this information is in the calendar view. And there's a trick here. If you haven't done so already, I'm going to show you how you can make sure that this calendar is in your time zone and synced to your personal calendar application. So of course, we are a global course. We have folks from all over the world, as you saw earlier in the webinar, but we have to use one particular time zone when we design these courses. And so we use UTC. But you'll notice here on my calendar, everything is showing up in Eastern Standard Time. I'm in the Boston, New York area. And so all of the calendar events show up in my time zone here. And in order to get this linked to my calendar so that I have a personal calendar reminder that pops up on my screen, I simply click this calendar feed button here, and it gives me a downloadable subscription to the calendar that I use, whether that be Google Calendar, iCal, or Outlook. So I just click that feed here and you'll see it downloads right into my screen here. The ICS file, I'm on a Mac right now, so it automatically reads that I'm on a Mac and gives me the ICS file. When I open that, it will sync this course calendar to my personal calendar application. If you're wondering how to adjust your time zone, let's say you're traveling and you want to adjust your time zone for the course, you simply click on your account. It's over here in the very far left. Your account will give you a settings. You won't see it because I'm in test view right now, but you'll have a settings button. And in the settings, you can adjust your time zone. So check your account settings, make sure it's in your time zone, and then you will see this calendar feed in your time zone. So you don't have to worry about converting. For example, if you want to attend the office hours, you'll see it show up right there in your time zone. So it's one of those things that we strongly encourage all students in the course, if you haven't already linked your calendar, to go ahead and do that as soon as possible. It'll help you stay on track as we move along. As we said before, it's a fire hose of information. So we want to make sure that you're staying on track, and that's one of the tricks to do that well. The other trick here is also on the right of the screen. You'll see a to-do list. Now, this is a checklist where you can mark off things as you go along. So let's say you've already introduced yourself in the discussion board. You can just click that little X there, and it'll remove that from your queue. You've already signed the code of conduct. You've done the pre-course survey. You've done that first knowledge check. You're here on the webinar today. So you're going to exit out of all of those things here as you go along. But maybe you haven't done assignment 1 yet. So you might want to leave that one in your queue. So as a reminder, every time you come into the course, the very first thing there will be the thing that needs your attention right away. So use this checklist here to help yourself stay on track with the various elements of the course. We'd like to make sure that those announcements are readily available for you. So another place that we have them here is right on the top of the homepage. The 2 most recent announcements will always appear right here on the top of the homepage. So these will change from day to day as more announcements go out, but this will help keep you on track. If you're anything like me, emails are difficult to stay on top of. These announcements, they do get emailed to you, but if you've missed an email or you're finding it challenging to find an email, you can rest assured that those announcements are going to be posted right here on the platform for you. Now, if you scroll down in the middle of the home page here, you're going to see a couple of other quick hot buttons. The first is the course outline. So we went over that in the intro webinar very quickly, but if you'd like to remind yourself on what's coming, you can just click on that course outline hot button. It's going to take you to essentially the syllabus for the course, which walks you through week to week what those learning objectives are, what the key activities and expectations are from week to week. So this is a quick way for you to get that information and stay on top of the course. Secondly is the passing criteria. That's something you often want to refer back to. We don't expect you to have that memorized. And so if you want a refresher on how you're doing and what that passing criteria is, we've got all of that outlined here for you on that quick button. We also have the weekly assignments so you can make sure you're staying on track to meet those requirements and pass the course successfully. Finally, of course, we have Meet the Faculty, and this is an intro to Brian Anthony, who is the course faculty, and a little welcome video from him as well. If you haven't watched that already, you might want to do that after today's webinar here. And anytime you want a reminder about, who the faculty is, what his expertise is, you can click on that bio link and it'll take you right there. Now, a couple of other important things on the homepage that you may have missed. If you scroll down, you'll see a welcome letter here from Brian Anthony. He gives you a high-level overview of what to expect in the course. He talks a little bit more about Fred, that fiber extrusion device that we work with so closely in the course. So you'll get to hear a little bit from him in this welcome letter if you haven't read it already. But down here at the bottom are 3 critical pieces of information for you. The first are the start dates for the course, when those break weeks are to give you a chance to kind of simmer and get caught up if you need to, what the end date is, and what the final submission date is. You'll also see here some information about what you can do and where you can go for support. We'll dive a little deeper into that here in a moment. And finally, this is where you go. You'll see at the very bottom of the homepage, if you'd like to access the course material from your mobile device. So if you have a tablet or a phone and you'd like to be able to listen to videos and complete assignments and access the platform, this is where you go to get that Canvas app downloaded. So do take a look at that mobile access link on the very bottom of the homepage if you haven't done so already. Now, finally, what we'll do is we'll move over to that left-hand toolbar, and we'll walk through what some of these tabs are and how you can best use them. The modules tab, we release content. You may have already realized this on a weekly basis, so you'll get a new module of content every week. So far in the course, you've got your orientation week, your agreement, and some activities to help you get started, some activities to help you understand Fred. You'll see some videos here from Brian Anthony detailing what Fred is and how it's going to help impact your learning throughout the course. And of course, we have our week 1 introduction to Fred. Some of the videos and so forth are available for you here. So you've got a lot of content right now to go through as we gear up and get started with the course. You'll see here there are 5 different modules available, and you'll see next week another module will be released. So you want to make sure you complete all of the activities within these 5 modules before we move on to the following week. Each module contains videos, discussions, knowledge checks. Jonathan spoke about those during his overview of the assessments. You'll also see here there tends to be a sort of cadence between videos and discussions where you'll watch some videos, you'll learn some new techniques and concepts, and then you'll discuss it with your peers. So we like to build in a lot of those peer networking opportunities for you. another knowledge check here, a practice assignment, and then finally the main assignment for the week here. You'll also get resources. So I saw one of you asked a question in the chat earlier about where can I go to dive more deeply into this? What are some of the links to other resources that are available? So each week you'll find some resources here. Some of those are based in the content itself. So you'll see downloadable transcripts. You can download the video transcripts and keep those in your files forever. So those are yours to take with you after the course concludes. There's also a Q&A discussion board. Our learning facilitators, Sergio and Jonathan, are on those discussion boards helping to answer your questions. You'll also see a feedback survey, which we ask for you to complete from week to week. And these are all resources aimed at helping you to dive deeply and get as much out of the course as you'd like to put into it. So we encourage you to take a look at not only the module, but that resources at the very end of it. The other thing to note here, if you're wondering how long you have access to Canvas, we grant access for up to a year after the course concludes. So I believe the end date for this course is early February 2020. You'll have access until the following February. So you'll be able to go back in and kind of simmer with the information, rewatch videos, and all of that for a year after the course concludes. Next up here, we have our webinars tab. This gives you an overview of those live faculty webinars with Brian Anthony. What a wonderful opportunity for you to speak directly with the faculty who designed the course here. So you'll have the intro webinar. You'll see that's here today. Today's webinar is being recorded. These are where, this place here, the webinars tab, is where this recording will be housed for your reference in the future. So if you'd like to come back and watch this webinar again, within 24 hours after today's session, that webinar video will appear here, as well as all of the slides that we shared with you. So the webinar video and the slides are always recorded for all of our live sessions and posted here on the platform. You'll see week 2. This is Brian Anthony, so make sure you mark your calendar here for November 22nd. We've got Dr. Anthony on the live session with us. Week 8, also Dr. Anthony will be there, and then finally week 10 here, we have Dr. Anthony with us. So these webinars are really critical for you to come to, and they're one of the highlights of this course, is being able to interact directly with MIT faculty. Now, office hours are hosted by our learning facilitators. We talked a lot about that in the webinar so far because we really want to emphasize the importance of attending these office hours. If there's one thing you write down, if there's one note you take, it's make sure you attend office hours. They're super critical to your success in this course. And the link to those live sessions are right here in the office hours tab. I don't believe the office hours are recorded because they're more of they're unstructured. They're more of a place for you to go to get your questions answered. And so we don't formalize that mechanism by recording it. In order to get the most out of office hours, you have to physically be attending and present at those office hours. You'll see here a grades tab. If you click on that tab, you'll be able to understand where you are in the course, how many points you've received, and whether or not you are on track to getting that completion of certificate. So we like to make that available and very transparent for you throughout the entire course, so you always know what your standing in the course is. Now, if you're wondering, what section do I belong to? Am I in Jonathan's section, section B, or am I in Sergio's section, section A? The People tab is where you go to find that information. It's also where you go to learn more about your peers in the course and to read up on them and see what their profiles are. So I'm in a test mode right now, so I'm able to see all the students in the course. But you'll see if you just control find and you search for a name, let's say we want to search for Bruno here. We're going to see Bruno shows up and it tells us, oh, he's in section A. And if we click on this link here, it'll take us right over to Bruno's profile. And this is an area where Bruno can put his photograph. He can put links to his LinkedIn account. He will have a list of everything he's enrolled in, all the other courses he might be interested in. So this is a chance for you to kind of get to know your classmates a little bit, connect with them on social media, and find out what section you're in. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we have our support tab. So this will help us to answer that initial question about where do I go for help, particularly if an assignment is due before I have a chance to meet with my learning facilitator in office hours. And this is where you go. Anytime you need help with the course, whether it be from logistical help, whether it be an enrollment issue or a payment issue or a content related issue. This is where you go to get the support that you need. If you click that support tab, you'll see the first drop down menu gives you 3 options. You might need help with submissions, extensions, accessing material, and everything else. This option here will route you to our robust team of program support who are in the background 24/7 helping to answer your questions. Now, this middle tab here about course content, this will route your email, your query, directly to your assigned learning facilitator. So if you're in section A and you click this middle content here, then Sergio will get your email. If you're in section B and this is the one you select, this middle one, Jonathan will get your email. And we promise a response within 24 hours of your initial query. So if you have a question and you need help about your assignment, please don't wait, don't hesitate, go straight to the support tab and click on this middle content query topic area, and we'll make sure you get the support you need. And finally, enrollment payments and certificates. Our admissions office is located in Singapore. And so any enrollment payment or certificate questions will get routed directly to our Singapore admissions team, and somebody will be in touch with you within 24 hours. You can also go ahead and type your query right here into the open text field. You'll see I'm writing test over and over again here. You can also upload and drop files. So let's say you've done half of your assignment and you want to ask your learning facilitator if you're on the right track. You can upload that assignment right here by clicking the add files directly from your computer, and your learning facilitator will get that file along with your email. When you click submit, you'll get a confirmation letting you know that that query has been submitted, and somebody will be in touch with you within 24 hours. And lastly, the last thing we like to note during this point in the intro webinar is this final list of options. In the far left over here, you've got your account settings. You'll want to make sure, if you haven't done so already, upload a headshot, a photograph, write a little bio about yourself and what brings you to the course, and make sure that time zone is accurate as you whatever would be most helpful for you is making sure that that time zone is correct. You'll also have a dashboard which will list other courses that you've enrolled in. This calendar here is different than the course calendar. This calendar lists all of your courses that you're enrolled in. So if you happen to be enrolled in more than one, that calendar will give you a detailed overview of everything together at once. And you'll also see an inbox here, which you can use to reach out to your peers in the course. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to open us up to our Q&A section. We have about 7 minutes left in today's webinar. I'm going to ask Jonathan and Sergio to come back on live with us today. And we're going to pitch out some of these questions and make sure that you are good to go and you have everything you need before we dive into the course. So first and foremost, we have a message from Paul about Fred. So he's already watched some of the videos about Fred, and he's got some comments and questions about the machine, and he's wondering, where does he post those? Is it a discussion board? Should he reach out to one of his learning facilitators? How should he initiate getting the help he needs with Fred? Sergio, would you like to take this one? I see you're not on mute here, so, or maybe Jonathan.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So for Fred, you can feel free to post a question in the first week Q&A. That's totally fine, and then we'll go to it. Yeah. But as you have ongoing questions about Fred, and well, we're gonna be talking about Fred. You see it in module 1, week 1, and we'll be carrying Fred through all 10 weeks, and so you will become intimately familiar with this machine and its working. So yeah, definitely post questions in the Q&A. Ask them during office hours. And also when we have the live sessions with Professor Anthony, that's going to be like the key time to ask any the big questions around Fred, as he and his research lab have been focused on designing, building, running Fred, and generating the data that we have the fortune of working with.
I appreciate that, Jonathan. And I also see, I sort of got caught up quickly. I see that Q&A, a lot of folks have been talking in the Q&A, and Jonathan, you've been answering in the background. So it looks like we're getting a lot of those questions answered as we go along. Is there any sort of last minute tips or tricks that either, we have two learning facilitators here on the line with us today. You've done this course before. This isn't your first go around with Smart Manufacturing Online. If you could give one tip to the students in this course for what they can do to ensure their success and their understanding of the information, I'd love to hear from both Sergio and Jonathan if you're willing to give us one quick tip on what you would advise students in order to be successful in this course.
I'd suggest kind of a two-part one. And the first is start early on the content when it's released, because you're never quite sure how long it's gonna take to work through it. So start early, and also try to bite off a lot and stretch yourself so that you really do make this into a great learning opportunity. Since we have, 10 weeks can go by pretty fast, and so this is an opportunity to really make use of it. One, sort of codicil or caution with that, and it was based on a question that was in the Q&A, was someone had asked, can we use like Python instead of Excel? And absolutely you can. If you're comfortable with Python, go for it. If you're pretty comfortable with Python, then probably we will provide definitely sort of baseline support for Excel, since it's so commonly available. But if you want to, really try something and a new language, feel free to go for it. That's kind of the MIT way, is to try it. And then we'll still be here to help sort of support you if things kind of crash and burn a little bit. We have the office hours to help take care of things. So start early and try to stretch yourself.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Sergio, did you have anything you'd like to offer as well?
Certainly. First and foremost, I would definitely second Jonathan's recommendations. It's very fast-paced, so really fasten seatbelts and enjoy the ride. On top of that, I would say that please do not hesitate any minute to pull on the help chain on the same vein, because it's very fast-paced. And try to see the connection with what you do, because everything that is taught is extremely applicable. And if that connection is not obvious in the first place, you will be pleasantly surprised that that is actually a learning opportunity. You see that that connects to your day-to-day operations much more closely than it might be apparent in the first sight. So try to see that in action and enjoy everything that it has to offer.
Great. Thank you both for offering those tips. As I mentioned before, today's webinar is being recorded. It'll be posted in the platform. If you have additional questions, please do use that support tab that we showed you. Begin to reach out, begin to tinker with the Canvas learning management system. Get to know how it works and how you can get support and what that process feels like. We're still revving up, but we hit really strong starting next week. So make sure you spend as much time as possible familiarizing yourself with the platform and the content and Fred before we get going here. And just lastly, we have a couple of questions coming through on assignments. What is your tip? And I'll ask Jonathan, in terms of completing the assignments, do you recommend that you complete them all at once, or should you kind of touch in and come back and touch in and come back? And then also in terms of submitting it, can you submit it all at once, or can you submit it sort of in pieces as well?
So in general, I think most, if not all, of the assignments are structured such that you can work on it and then put it aside if you need like a day, and then come back to it. And so it's what I'll say is, it's not like, okay, you have 10 minutes to answer 3 questions, go. It's not like that. And so you will be able to work on it on your own pace, more or less. And then what we do, though, encourage, or what we need is, for the submission, you do submit once. There is sometimes there's a way to kind of add follow-up information. If you forgot to attach something, or like an appendix or something, you can add that. But we do encourage you to, for example, an assignment where you're given a bunch of raw data and asked to make visualizations and some decisions based on that, I propose that you work on that over time slice or whatever you need to do, and then write up a short memo like a PDF, submit that PDF with then the data as an appendix. It's one submission, and it's easier for us to provide more valuable, useful feedback to you as a participant.
Great. Thank you so much. With that, we are at the top of the hour. Just one final warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us. We so look forward to getting to know you over the course of the webinar, or over the course of the course. So thank you again for being here, and we look forward to working with you very closely. Good afternoon, good evening, and good day.